well, doesn't that put you in the Christmas spirit?
Yeah, it certainly does.
Welcome to Phil and Ted's Sexy Boomer Show. I'm Ted Bonnet.
I'm Phil Proctor. We have a special guest today, Joey Green, who is remarkable.
What's that smell, Phil?
It's delicious, whatever it is.
What are you doing here?
Well, I was just cleaning off the table with Spam.
You're polishing the console with Spam?
Look at it shine. Isn't that beautiful?
Who knew? You're such a ham.
It's so clean you could eat off it.
And the reason for that radio gag is because our guest is the connoisseur of
the extraordinary uses of common household objects, just for starters.
I should mention why that works, the Spam. Why in the world would you polish your furniture with Spam? Well, it's actually the oils in the Spam that polish the wood of the furniture. If you're all out of pledge, you don't have any furniture polish, you just had some Spam for lunch, don't throw out that leftover lunch.
Don't throw it away.
No.
But doesn't your furniture smell like meat?
Well, pets will love it. They'll keep licking that furniture, keep it nice and shiny for you.
That's an added benefit.
Yeah. Actually, it does. When it dries, it does not smell at all. It's kind of amazing. And Phil, what I would recommend in the future, because I see you just using a regular rag here, but what you should be using is a pair of used legs pantyhose. When they get a run in them, don't throw them out. You take the pantyhose.
And you've been throwing them out all these years.
I know. But they've been keeping me warm, especially on our trip to New York.
Yes. We just came back from a week in New York. And
a whirlwind week in New York.
And Connecticut. We went to New Haven.
That's right.
And you went to Hartford.
I was at Hartford visiting my late wife, Melinda Peterson's family in West Hartford. And Ted also got together with a whole a gaggle of his radio partners from the early days.
My origin clan.
Your origin clan, that's right. At Pepe's Pizza, we had
New Haven.
A wonderful, crazy lunch, didn't we?
And no one realized you were wearing pantyhose at the time.
No, they didn't.
Or that he was rubbing
Or
Spam.
that they were torn. That's the really thing,
Well, speaking of that, and the reason I brought that up is because you can take your used pantyhose, ball them up, and use them to polish your fine furniture. So with the Spam, the pantyhose, the nylon is a mild abrasive. So it does a great job polishing your furniture. And you can be wearing the pantyhose, rolling around on the furniture, having a grand old time. And it really does work.
Sounds like another book.
Yeah, right. Sex with common household objects.
Joey Green, by the way, if you haven't seen him, which you may have and not realized, he is the author of 60 books. That's right, 60.
Count them.
60 books. And he's been on every imaginable media outlet with his incredible knowledge. He's been on The Tonight Show, Dateline NBC, Today, The 700 Club.
Yeah.
Wow. How'd that go? Did they convert you?
Was that a religious experience for you?
It was. But I demonstrated a lot of these tips using the brand name products. And at the end, Pat Robertson said that I'm a genius and I should run for president. So I don't know if polishing furniture with Spam qualifies me for the presidency.
Run for president.
Whatever.
Well, maybe shaving with peanut butter.
Yeah, we should explain that to the folks
at
home.
I saw a clip of you on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno, and you were shaving him he was shaving himself with peanut butter.
Yeah, well, he had the perfect chin for it. So
yeah, right.
Yeah, but the reason why that works is because it was actually this tip was actually discovered by former United States Senator Barry Goldwater, of all people.
No kidding.
Well, on a camping trip. He was camping. He was all out of shaving cream. He was determined to shave. So very creatively, he grabbed the peanut butter, slathered it on his face. It's the oils in the peanut butter that lubricate the skin and give you a nice, clean shave. Now, just a safety precaution, if you're going to shave with peanut butter, you want to use the creamy, not the chunky.
Not the super chunky.
Right. I know.
Personal experience.
Is that why I have this nut in my mustache?
Just that thought of why Barry Goldwater needed to shave on a camping trip and was so desperate that he used peanut butter.
Well, desperate times call for desperate measures. And a lot of these tips they're all real. They may sound insane. And what's great about them is, like baking soda, vinegar, you can start very gentle and work your way up to the Spam on your furniture. But what's amazing about these things, they all really work. And it's because people were in a desperate situation, and it's American ingenuity at its finest. A lot of products like that, like a Wrigley Spearmint gum, for example, our soldiers in the military would always use it to patch, if there's a leak in a gas tank on a Jeep, they would use a piece of chewing gum.
Sure.
Right? And Also, we were talking about the peanut butter.
Yeah.
It has all other sorts of. Actually, it's the pantyhose. Our troops in Vietnam, they're in these
They both
swamps.
start with P, so that's okay.
Yeah. They with the pantyhose, they were in the swamps in Vietnam, and there's leeches, so they would get pantyhose and wear pantyhose under their uniform.
So rather than all these incredible applications like Cheese Whiz, which finally you came up with something useful for Cheese Whiz, which is to take grease stains out of clothing. You're not approaching this as a chemist. It sounds like you're a social scientist, and you're.
I'd like to know how you got started on this adventure.
I mean, yeah, and we go back now. You worked. You were a freelance writer for the National Lampoon, so you have a comedy writing background.
Yeah,
right.
And
so I wrote.
And by the way, you could use the National Lampoon as toilet paper back in those days too.
I believe so.
Is that where it started?
I think that was the Sears catalog. Actually, was
yes.
Right?
Oh, yes.
So there you go, American ingenuity. Right?
That's right.
All right. So I was writing for National Lampoon, did that for several years, and then I wrote an article in Rolling Stone on why the National Lampoon wasn't funny anymore. And before that came out, I thought, I better get another job. And so I accidentally got a job working at J. Walter Thompson writing TV commercials for Burger King. It's a small hamburger chain. I don't know if
a little place.
I don't know if you've heard of it at all. And one day I was asked into a meeting. They had all these strange meetings in the advertising agency. And they asked a group of us, I think there were about like 6 of us, into a conference room. And Nestle's was another one of our clients. And so they had this like selection of Nestea and coffees and everything. And they said, we'd like the group of you to come up with alternative uses for Nestea, the iced tea drink mix, so we can sell more Nestea to the American public. And I thought this was the dumbest thing I'd ever been asked. Like, why are you wasting my time? But they had a nice selection of coffee, so I thought, I'll just drink a cup of coffee here for an hour, and this meeting will go away. Mm-hmm. And one of the guys in that meeting was an avid sailor. He went out in his sailboat every weekend in New York Harbor in the summer. And he said one weekend he got really badly sunburned. He was red as a lobster. He was in a lot of pain. So he went back home, and he went to his pantry, and he grabbed a jar of Nestea. And he was an account guy on Nestea, so I imagine he had a lot of Nestea, right? He took the whole jar of Nestea, the powdered mix, emptied the whole jar into his bathtub, filled it with cool water, and soaked in it. And we all looked at him the same way you're looking at me right now, like you're crazy, you've lost your mind. And I said, that's not what they meant by take the Nestea plunge. You're taking it way too literally.
Right. Oh, I did one of those commercials once.
Did you really?
Yes.
And but he said, no, really, it's the tannin in the tea that relieves sunburn pain. He said, if you're ever badly sunburned, do it. You'll think of me and you'll thank me. And right then and there, I realized this belongs in a book. And so I started contacting all the companies. It was before the internet. So I'm writing letters to all the companies saying, what are people writing into you? What are all the crazy uses for your products that you're not advertising?
Interesting.
And found out you can clean toilet with Coca-Cola, which has now gone all over the internet. I'm the first one to
you can
record
clean
that.
anything with toilet. With Coca-Cola. My father had a story in World War II. He never drank soda, and I asked him why he never drank soda. He said, because when I was in the Army, I spilled a little, it was either Pepsi or Coke, on the lapel of his heavy Army fatigue and didn't clean it. And the next day there was a hole burned in it. So I don't drink soda. That's why I don't drink
They
soda.
also used it in the Army and in college. Back in the day, if your car won't start and you open the hood and there's all this corrosion around the battery terminals, if you pour Coca-Cola on it, it eats away the corrosion. It disappears, and so you can start your car up again.
Oh, isn't that appetizing?
And you can also clean a toilet, as I mentioned. You just pour a can of Coke into your toilet, let it sit for 15 minutes. Brush and flush. It's the ascorbic acid, the citric acid, and the phosphoric acid in the Coke that cleans the vitreous china of your toilet bowl. And it doesn't have to be a brand new can of Coke. That 2-liter bottle in your fridge. If it goes flat, don't pour it out. Don't pour it down the sink. Pour it in your toilet. Kill 2 birds with one stone. Also, a Coke on your driveway. That oil stain on the driveway that might be there for 20 years or whatever. If you take a can of Coke, pour it over the oil stain in your driveway, let it sit overnight. In the morning, take your garden hose. It's a degreaser. It will get the oil stain out of your driveway.
I hope you're taking notes, Phil.
Now, if that oil stain's been there for 20 years, get yourself a six-pack.
I'm taking notes with a piece of celery
dipped in
Cheese
Whiz.
On Cheese Whiz, right.
Well, I should mention the Cheese Whiz because you brought it up and maybe listeners
I'd always loved Cheese Whiz, not to eat, but just the notion.
I just like to use it as an expression. Cheese Whiz!
Well, you can actually use it to remove grease stains from clothes. You just, if there's a grease stain in your clothes, just take the Cheese Whiz, take a spatula or whatever, rub it into the grease stain, let it sit for a little while, then throw it in your regular wash with your regular detergent, whatever you're using. The enzymes in the Cheese Whiz will eat through the grease stain, and it comes right out of your clothes.
Wow.
And you can be having cheese and crackers at the same time that you're doing laundry. So,
Okay, so if that wasn't weird enough, what are some of the weirder
or S
discoveries that you've made with common household ingredients?
And did you start then doing this on your own at home?
Yeah, all by myself.
And your wife Debbie's
who was going to
here.
hang out with
your wife Debbie's here with you today.
Yes.
How about that, Debbie? Did he, start using your own stuff, and what was that like?
The only thing that was good was that he'd open the pantry and go clean something. So I was
Good. He'd open the pantry and go clean something. Okay, good.
Yeah, well, one of what I love is that you can mousse your hair with Jello. So if you're having a bad hair day, you don't have any mousse, you don't have any styling gel, you're all out of hairspray, just go to the refrigerator, grab a bowl of Jello already made, a little dab will do you. Just rub it any flavor you want, rub it through your hair, comb it back. It works exactly like mousse. In fact, if you blow dry your hair with Jello in it, you can make your hair stand up on end. That's how strong Jello is as a mousse.
Because of the gelatin?
Exactly.
I can do that watching a horror film. But,
Wow.
You can't use chocolate mousse or anything like that. It has to be Jello, right?
I haven't tried the chocolate mousse.
No,
but
you eat
please try
chocolate
it.
mousse.
Right.
But try it at home. Let me know if it works for
I'll
you.
try it.
I would be sacrilege not to eat chocolate mousse.
All right. Again, what motivated you once you had, kind of dipped your toe in this to make it like your life's work?
My life's mission.
Yeah.
It was all by accident. The whole thing was by accident because I was in this meeting by accident.
Yep.
Serendipitous. And also, like sometimes when you get an idea and you just become a magnet for those ideas. So like people just out of the blue, like I get a copy of USA Today, which I never read or never subscribed to, but like I'm on a business trip and the paper comes to the door and there's a cover story about all the other uses for WD-40.
Aha.
And the spam was reported by the New York Times Sunday magazine, and a friend just handed it to me thinking, oh, this might interest you, but had no idea I was on this kind of pathway. And then I did one book, and the book was called Polish Your Furniture with Pantyhose, which we were just talking about.
Good. Very good.
And the problem was that, and this is the real true confessions here, is that I did a book and I had like 50 products. I went to Ralph's up in West Hills in
You were
San
living
Fernando Valley.
in California at that time.
Yeah. Actually, it was in Sherman Oaks. Forgive me, Ralph's. And I went shopping, picked out 50 products, contacted all the companies. And the publishing house, when I sent it all to them, the lawyers, when they read through it, they loved it. And that's always a problem when the lawyers love it because then they read everything. And they were like, you got to get permission from all the companies to say all this stuff. So then I'm on a letter writing campaign, again, to all the legal departments of all these, companies.
Major corporations.
Coca-Cola and Kraft. And,
Unilever.
Yeah, and all these guys.
Yeah.
And half of them said yes, and half of them said no. And I was like on this deadline. And so the book, The Polish Your Furniture with Pantyhose, was supposed to be twice as long as it was. But because I couldn't get all the permissions, they were like, we're just going to go ahead and publish it. And so now I had more material left over for a sequel. And since the first book did well, I was like, I'll do a second book, which was called Paint Your House with Powdered Milk. Which I found out because once I did book number one and I had a website and then people started emailing me all their tips.
Yeah.
The American colonists used to paint their homes with milk.
Really?
And what they would do is they would mix it with different colored dyes, pigments, and because the milk is kind of the glue that holds the paint, the pigment on
the fat?
Yeah. The emulsion.
Emulsion.
And so it would hold the color to the walls. And so nowadays I would just grab carnation non-fat powdered milk and use that and mixed it with pigment, and it works. You can paint a house with...
And it's waterproof?
You have to let it dry well, but once it dries, it is waterproof, and it's incredible. So I did that book, and then I did that took off, and so I did another book called Wash Your Hair with Whipped Cream. And then what you mentioned, Clean Your Clothes with Cheese Whiz. And I thought it was going to be one book. I really did.
Yeah.
I thought it was just funny, but it turns out it's also very useful.
Were these point of purchase type items that you found at the checkout counter, or was it impulse buys? Or
No, the book was just in bookstores everywhere. And also... I had done a couple of books before that, and usually the publicity department says, we'll get you on all these TV shows, and then nothing ever happens.
Yeah.
And on this book, they say, we'll get you on all the TV shows.
And it happened.
Yeah, it happened. And I was on the Today Show, and Katie Couric just loved this stuff. And it was, and then...
what stuff in particular?
She loved that you could polish a diamond ring with Efferdent, the denture cleansing tablet.
Oh.
So on the show, I had the Efferdent and I had the glass of water, and I had like a piece of costume jewelry to throw in. And she said, no, let me use my diamond. I just got married. So I cleaned Katie Couric's diamond engagement ring with Efferdent, and she just loved that. And she loved the
what
spam
fun.
also. And
Gary Trudeau, I guess, didn't mind.
no, you're thinking of Jane Pauley.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
right.
I correct myself. Is there any product for that when you get things wrong like that? Anything?
Mayonnaise.
Oh, thank you.
Eradication. So one book led to another book. Now, did you write books on other subjects in between to kind of clean your palate?
Yes, I did. I've done all sorts of stuff.
No, I'm looking down the list. It's amazing.
I did a Gilligan's Island handbook. Interviewed the entire cast and crew of Gilligan's Island.
Wow.
And did a book on Get Smart and interviewed all the cast and crew of that.
Buck, did you
With
talk to Buck Henry? And
Yeah.
Wow. That must have been an interesting time.
It was really fun. The most fun, I think, was with my wife, Debbie, who's sitting over there. Like one night, we were living in Sherman Oaks, and the phone rings at 11 at night, and it was Buck Henry. And I wasn't home.
Mm-hmm.
And so she had this long conversation with Buck Henry, who was saying, oh, it's so difficult being a writer, and it's so
Yeah,
hard.
yeah.
And he was in New York at the time, so 11 o'clock here was like 2 in the morning in New York.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
what are you doing up at 2 in the morning?
He was up.
I'm writing,
I'm writing.
He was an interesting guy.
He was a
Yeah.
sweet guy. I love Buck Henry.
He used to like to go to Plato's Retreat and sit in a chaise lounge and watch.
And observe. Well, I like to watch. Right. Peter Sellers.
Yeah, I can see where this is an absolute darling for publicity, because what TV host doesn't want to be lathered in Jello?
Yeah, and I had never really been on TV before, so I didn't know, this is all new to me. I'm a writer. I'm sitting at home hiding behind a keyboard.
But it's a
So,
visual thing. It's,
Yeah. So I've smeared mustard on, we can do it right now, Phil. I got some French's mustard here.
Go ahead, Phil. Strip
yeah.
down.
Well, as I was saying to you when we were having a little breakfast, when I was a kid and doctors would actually come to your homes, house calls, I had asthma. So a common cold became a threatening thing for me. And the doctor prescribed mustard plasters.
Yeah.
All right, which I guess fell out of favor because it was like a new idea when you wrote about it, right?
Yeah, well, it fell out of favor because Vicks Vapor Rub came along.
Oh,
right.
right.
And kind of
That
replaced it. And what you find out is I just remember with my grandmother, sitting with her, and you say there's some problem, and she'd say, "Oh, just use vinegar," right? And you're like, "Come on,
Yeah.
Grandma, they invented a product to do this. We just use the product."
Hey,
that they
listen,
had."
I'm of Amish ancestry, and cider vinegar and honey,
Yeah.
that'll cure anything.
So these
you
are
know?
these folk remedies.
Yeah, it's all stuff that Grandma would have told you about, and they all work. And open your shirt, Phil, and we'll just take this mustard here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
go
I'm
ahead.
just,
Oh, this I gotta see.
right.
This I gotta see.
Wait, let me get the pantyhose down there.
Oh,
Okay, here.
it's a good thing this is a
Yeah,
radio
so here's the
show.
French's mustard. I'm just going to squeeze some of this mustard on your chest there.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to rub it in there.
No, I can do it. Take your
They
hands.
look like a big wiener, Phil.
Yeah, I feel like a big wiener. But
And do you
should
feel
I
the
rub
heat?
some on my buns? What do you say?
That's your option.
That's your choice.
okay.
Your
I wanna
choice.
say that-
Well,
for
it's
home.
radio. I can do whatever I want. Nobody
Do you
else.
feel the heat from that mustard? Because it's
Yeah,
the
I
heat
do.
of the mustard.
I do.
And
Smells good, too.
Yeah, and what they would have done, like when you were younger,
That's
is
it.
they
They put
take a
it-
washcloth in warm
That's
water
right.
and put it on top of it, and it's a mustard plaster. And it's something that goes back to the Greek times, like Plato and all those guys were doing the mustard plaster because it's the warmth from the mustard
Yeah.
that helps decongest the chest cold.
Joey, do you have Grey Poupon?
You can use whatever you want, but I'm picking, and people always say, am I being paid by these companies?
Yeah.
I wish I had had that thought ahead of time, but I'm just picking out the number one brand name products in America, the ones you're most likely to have in the house. So, if you want to use Pepsi instead of Coke, and also sometimes a lot of the times it's the ingredients in the product. For example, if you want to repel mosquitoes, and you don't want to, usually we spray ourselves with off insecticide and coat your body with this chemical that shouldn't be
Yeah,
touching your
terrible.
skin.
Right.
Instead, just go to your laundry room, grab a box of Bounce, the fabric softener
Yeah,
sheets.
rub
Take
it on
one
yourself?
no, don't rub it on yourself.
No?
Put it through a belt loop. Or through the back, we got the flap on a baseball cap, the little flap in the back. You put the sheet of Bounce through that, gives you that Lawrence of Arabia look, very
Yeah.
popular with the ladies.
Yeah.
It's the scent of
Foreign
the
Legion.
Bounce that keeps the mosquitoes
No
away.
kidding.
And if you look on the side of the box of Bounce, they used to list all the ingredients, and one of them was fragrance, but they don't tell you what fragrance is in Bounce. And the fragrance in Bounce is oleander, which is a natural insect repellent, so it keeps mosquitoes away. And if one sheet of Bounce doesn't work for you, you got all these belt loops. You can get a nice fashion statement going.
Yeah. Now, what about fruit flies? I have an invasion of fruit flies in my kitchen right now. Got anything for that?
Did you really want to share that with America?
Let's not offend our listeners.
Too late now.
Yeah, what you can do is you can take what I like to do is take a 2-liter bottle of any soda or any large bottle that's empty.
Yeah.
Clean it out, wash it out, and then just put like half a cup of apple cider vinegar.
Right.
You were just talking about that in the bottle, and just lie it on its side. And what happens is the sweetness of that vinegar, the smell of it, attracts the fruit flies.
Yep.
They go into the bottle. They can't kind of figure their way out because the acids in the vinegar kill them.
Oh, that's wonderful. Because I just went and bought some fruit fly killers, and they had a little vial with vinegary smelling stuff. Now I can do it at home by myself. So I'm raising fruit flies, you see. So sometimes it just gets overwhelming.
Yeah, and to those listeners out there,
I have to cull the crowd, the flock, as it were.
Yeah, and those listeners out there who care about fruit flies and don't want any harm coming to them, we apologize for this review.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
No
right.
fruit flies were harmed in the making of this particular radio show.
So, what were some of the other topics that you wrote? I know that we got together when you were writing a book of the sayings of Marx and Lenin.
The parallel sayings?
Right.
Yeah.
Inspired apparently by our Firesign Theater album, How Can You Be in Two Places at Once When You're Not Anywhere at All, which had the two faces of Marx and Lenin on the cover.
Exactly, and it said, "All hail Marx and Lenin."
That's right.
And it was a picture of John Lennon and Groucho Marx instead of the others.
Yeah.
And that actually inspired me deeply to do a book. I decided to do a book if I can get the matching quotes of John Lennon and Groucho Marx. And being a big Beatles fan, it was no problem to just comb my memory for quotes from John Lennon.
Right.
And then researching, looking at all the Marx Brothers movies and reading everything Groucho ever wrote to find matching quotes. And so it's on each page of the book is a quote from John Lennon, a quote from Groucho Marx.
Right.
And it was a lot of fun. And Yoko wrote the intro to the preface to the book.
Yes, nice.
And Arthur Marx, who was Groucho's firstborn son, wrote the introduction to it. And so it was just something I did out of love because it was just really fun to do and find the quotes. And I thought it would be something that John Lennon and Groucho Marx would get a big kick out of. And then I found out, interestingly, is that I was like, did Groucho and John Lennon ever meet? And it turns out that when the Beatles played the Hollywood Bowl, Groucho brought his daughter to the concert.
Oh.
And then there was a party hosted by Bob Eubanks, who had sponsored the show.
Right. He does a great lecture thing about the Beatles.
Yeah. And so they had a party in Beverly Hills that the Beatles came to and all the Hollywood celebrities came to. And so I was talking to Bob Eubanks and I said, so just out of curiosity, do you know if John Lennon met Groucho Marx? And he said, well, Groucho did crash that party, but he didn't know. And as far as I know, they never actually met or had any contact.
I met John briefly once and gave him a not insane button. Okay, Papoon for President, and which he wore in one of his documentaries with Yoko. You see in the documentary the little
that's wild
button they gave him. Yeah, well, it's absolutely amazing. We had lunch. You were honorable enough to get in touch with me and ask for permission, I guess, to use the idea, which is unheard of because you can't really copyright an idea,
Right.
But it was very sweet of you. And we had lunch with Groucho's son was it the Magic Castle?
At the Friars Club.
Oh, it was the Friars Club.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Long gone, unfortunately.
Yeah. It was a fun day.
That's how we met.
Yeah.
Here's an interesting book title that you did, Dumb History. I imagine that's you're probably doing a new volume right now. And you live in Florida. So, I mean, you must have just, is this
it's a 100-volume set.
Is this a memoir? Dumb History, the stupidest mistakes ever made. What's that about?
That was really fun. That was just each page or like a paragraph on each page of some just really funny thing from history that's just really, really dumb. Off the top of my head, I can't remember any of them right now, but the Trump years was just such a plethora of material.
So this is a really recent book.
No, this was prior to the Trump administration.
Prior to
so
the
it was
Trump years.
and that just I could do another,
I
could do another 200 books.
Yeah.
But it was that kind of stuff of just really stupid things from history. For example, here's just one crazy one. In the country of Malawi, in Africa, about a third of the country is Lake Malawi, going from north to south in the country. And So the lake was named by David Livingston, of historic fame.
I presume,
Yeah.
yes.
And so he named the lake. He asked the natives, "What's the name of the lake?" And they said Malawi. So he said, "Okay, it's Lake Malawi." Well, Malawi means lake.
Yeah, right. Lake. Right.
So it's Lake.
Right. It's like the name for Eskimo, which is the people, right?
Yeah.
You're listening to Phil and Ted's Sexy Boomer Show.
This wonderful show today with Joey Green.
Just wait. Does this officially make me a sexy boomer?
Yes.
Of course.
Of course. Anybody.
Debbie, you heard that, right?
Well, ask your wife. Hey, Debbie, what do you think?
Sexy boomer.
Sexy boomer.
So remember that term, sexyboomershow.com is where you can find all the shows, sexyboomershow.com. Our guest today, Joey Green. All right, so we've learned how to paint our houses with milk.
Now, mayonnaise. We haven't discussed mayonnaise. Or actually, let's talk about Miracle Whip.
Oh,
All right.
Yeah.
even
So-
sexier.
Yeah.
Is that a whip that doesn't leave marks on your body?
Well, here's what's great about Miracle Whip. You can give yourself a facial, a luxurious facial with Miracle Whip. Now, you go to a salon, you get a facial. It's going to cost you $75, $100, $125. All you need is a jar of Miracle Whip. And what you do is you take the Miracle Whip and just smear a thin coat on your face, avoiding your eyes, obviously.
Yes.
And then you lie down. You're going to want to lie down because the smell of Miracle Whip is very pungent. It'll knock you right off your feet, like smelling salts almost. But lie down with it on your face. Right away, you're going to feel this wild tingling sensation. It's a rejuvenating facial. It cleanses the skin and cleans the pores. And then what you do after leaving it on for as long as you like, 5
Just
minutes,
apply
10
peanut
minutes.
butter and make a sandwich.
You can do that if you're so inclined.
I like mayonnaise and peanut butter, by the way. I really do.
That's an interesting combination.
Wow.
I'll say.
But to wash it off, you just wash it off first with cool water
And then Coca-Cola.
and then warm water.
No, I'm sorry.
Or
Cold
Coca-Cola.
water and then warm water. Okay.
Yeah, so because it opens the pores, closes the pores, and it's a rejuvenating facial. And you would not believe how amazing it feels. If you don't have any Miracle Whip at home, you can also use Phillips Milk of Magnesia. Use a cotton ball, smear it on your face. Same thing. You could also use Dannon yogurt, any flavor you want,
Ooh.
as a facial treatment, or even Pepto-Bismol. If you're sick in bed with a stomach ache and you just feeling terrible, why not pamper yourself? Give yourself a facial at the same time.
How did you figure all that out?
Well, again, I contact the companies and say, what are your secret files and what are people sending into you? And then I have a website called wackyuses.com, WACKYUSES, wackyuses.com.
Good.
You can see a whole bunch of stuff listed there. And people would email me all the time with their uses.
it's there.
So I test them out, make sure they work, And then if you look a lot of this stuff up, I do a lot of research. But there's a lot of scientific proof that all these things work.
And looking at Joey, because we're on radio, so I
Yeah.
have to tell you, Joey's a boomer, but he has the face of a 5-year-old
It's
child.
true. God doesn't close one pore without opening another.
Now, this is an interesting title. Makes me think. Last Minute Survival Secrets. That sounds
Whoa.
pretty handy.
Wow.
What's that about?
Last-minute survival secrets.
If you have the presence of mind under the mushroom cloud, you grab your book.
Exactly. If you haven't made any preparations
Okay.
for the zombie apocalypse, whatever's going to hit us.
Okay.
No, you're not going to say use preparation H, I hope.
Well, it's all the things that you can use in a pinch, to help yourself out. Like, say, for example,
Okay.
you happen to be aboard a big ocean liner,
All right.
and you find out at the last minute that it's named the Titanic, and it starts going down in the middle of the ocean. What can you do to save yourself? Well, you can use 2 condoms and a shoelace to make yourself a life preserver.
preserver.
You just inflate the 2 condoms and tie them together with the shoelace, and you can wear them like the shoelace behind your back and the 2 condoms coming up from your arms.
Right.
So you kind of look like a porn star for a little bit.
Yeah.
But the air in the condoms will make you float.
Well, now, those are big condoms.
Well, you'd be surprised at how they inflate.
You know that.
Wow. Oh, that's right. After all, who was it, the comedian who put it over his head? Oh, come on. You gonna leave
Howie
me?
Mandel.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what inspired you. I don't know.
That's interesting. It's like, do you have the presence of mind to use the condom in that way in the last minute?
You've been carrying them around in your wallet for 7 years. Might as well put them to good use.
So we're here in L.A. in earthquake country. What things around the house would save your life besides the obvious of eating food and drinking water?
Well, one, if you've lost gas and electric,
Yeah.
you can use a bag of Lay's potato chips to start a fire. they ignite. So if you take a bag of potato
Because
chips,
all the oil in them.
it's the oil in the potato chips. So you just open a bag of potato chips, or you can use Doritos. I actually prefer Doritos because they're really saturated with oil. And you just can put them in a little bowl or a campfire or fireplace.
Like a sterno,
Yeah,
right?
and you just light them on fire, and it's the oils in the potato chips or in the Doritos that have enough to get a campfire going or to get firewood. Because we had this, Debbie and I sitting across the room, we did a lot of wilderness camping. And we were on these islands up in upstate New York called Indian Lake. And there's like 50 islands on this lake, and you can rent your own island for like up to a week, canoe out to your
nice.
island. So we do that. We canoe out to our island, and about 3 days in, it downpours with rain. All our firewood got sopping wet. All the kindling got sopping wet. We had just like a box of those safety matches.
Yeah.
And I was on my hands and knees, just like, hitting matches. I'm down to my last 3, and I'm thinking, we're going to starve. We're going to have to canoe back in the rain. You know. Finally, I got it started with the last 3 matches, fortunately. But because of my website, I got an email from these guys who had the exact same problem, wet firewood, wet kindling. But they reached into their backpack. They had a bag of Doritos corn chips, nice and dry in that Mylar bag. And they used that as kindling to start their fire and get wet firewood to dry enough that it would kindle. So if you're, a nice romantic evening at home, Valentine's Day is coming up.
some
shortly.
Doritos on the fire.
Yeah, just pop open a bag of Doritos.
What about Cheetos? Did they just explode?
I haven't tried with Cheetos, but do let me know.
Unbelievable.
Here's another book, Hell Bent on, because now, Joey, you've written 60 books, and I'm just going down this enormous list.
How much time do we have?
If I talk 1 minute on each book, it'll
Here's
be
an interesting
hour.
book called Hell Bent on Insanity. What's that about?
That was my first book, and that was a collection of college humor. I was the editor of the humor magazine at Cornell University called The Cornell Lunatic, and got together with all the other college humor magazines at the time and put together a book of the best of the college humor magazines from the 70s and early 80s.
Oh, that was a
Did you get to
fertile
the
period.
Yale record, by the way?
Did get to the Yale record.
Good.
And the Harvard Lampoon?
The Harvard Lampoon didn't want to participate, which gave us much more pages for ourselves. But the Yale record was included, the Dartmouth Jack-o'-lantern, the Columbia Jester, the Stanford Chaparral.
What fun.
So many great comedians and writers came out of those very countercultural, almost radical comedy publications at the time. Have they survived the internet? Are there campus publications?
Yes, there are still campus humor magazines. And in
Printed?
fact, yes. And amazingly, during COVID, I thought for sure the Cornell Lunatic, I thought it was going to die because it was COVID. And there's how are they going to do anything? And the universities were cutting back funding at that point. They were keeping the money to themselves. It was a good excuse for the universities not to finance student organizations. But the Cornell Lunatic survived it. They just went they did it online. And then when COVID dwindled down, then they printed the issues that they had not printed.
Interesting.
So all those, basically the Ivies, mostly University of Michigan, the Michigan Gargoyle. So they're still publishing, and it's great because it's like the ultimate in free press.
Have they bowed to political correctness, or is
No.
it fodder for them now?
No, they don't really care.
That's the whole point, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just total freedom of press,
Yep.
and they're
Weird,
independent of all the universities, so they just do whatever they want.
Well, good
and
news.
it's great. I mean, they're more sensitive, of course, than
Sure.
we were back when.
Yes,
So
right.
which is great too. And there's a lot more people of color or students of color, I should say, and women. In fact, recently at Cornell, the editor of the humor magazine was a woman, or the top editors were women for the past several years, which is fantastic because it used to be very heavily male dominated.
Oh, absolutely.
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, especially in a male school like Yale.
And at Harvard, it was Conan O'Brien. All these guys came out of Harvard.
And Colin Jost and
Colin Jost, yeah.
And I'll tell you a book that would be fun to talk about that I almost forgot about. Is a couple of years ago I wrote a book with James Patterson, the big mystery
novelist?
guy.
Yeah.
And it's a children's book. It's a middle grade book called Not So Normal Norbert. And
I've heard of that. Right, I think I read it actually.
What's that about?
it's about a boy who's about 12 years old, and it's kind of America, or it's the United States of Earth, and there's like a big brotherish type leader of the world, and he stands up on his desk at school and does an imitation of him and is banned to another planet on the other side of the galaxy, or the universe rather. And but on that planet, all the kids there are creative. So it's like he's been banished to this place thinking it's going to be a jail, but all these kids are creative, and it's the first time he's had the freedom to be creative.
Yeah.
So they're doing kind of like a Saturday Night Live type show on this planet, and then I won't tell you what happens from there. But
I had
it's really fun.
an interesting thought the other day. With all of this the war against diversity, which is really what's happening in the whole world right now. How are we ever going to be able to accept alien life on other planets before we can accept diversity on our own?
I'm glad you raised that question, Phil.
Because you must have a book on that, right?
That'll be your next book.
I think the answer is probably back to spam,
As a prolific publisher of 60 titles, you have seen the ups and downs of the publishing industry. I know authors who have been successful with major publishing houses, and some of them have opted to go to Amazon and self-publish just because it's quicker, less bureaucracy, and more money per unit. How's that affected your business mode?
I prefer to go with publishing houses because publishing houses, it's old school. But what's great about a publishing house is that they've got ideally they have all the resources to get the publicity,
The expertise and the infrastructure.
Because it's all about distribution and publicity. And you can self-publish a book on Amazon or wherever. And there's Lightning Source and other places you can do it. And that helps you with your distribution because you can now sell it anywhere.
Yes.
But the problem is always publicity.
That's right.
Because if it's not being publicized, and nowadays many of the publishing houses are saying, well, we want the authors to be able to have a large platform on Facebook or Twitter or whatever, or Instagram or whatever, or YouTube, and we want you to be doing the publicity for us.
Right.
And which is just kind of, unless you have that kind of resource, that's a full-time job.
Okay, here's the title. The Bubble Wrap Book.
Yes, that was really fun. So I don't know when it was. I was on some TV show here in L.A. and there was that was it. It was called The Mommies. There were these two women that had a show called The Mommies. And so I was on the show to demonstrate these uses for products. And another guest was the duct tape guy. There were a series of books on alternative uses for duct tape.
Sure.
And his name is Tim the duct tape guy. And we were just talking back in the green room. We were just like having some fun, talking about the different books we're working on. And there was another person there, I don't remember who. It might have been Beverly D'Angelo from National Lampoon's Vacation. She was another guest on the show.
That's right. Uh-huh.
And they were looking like, you two guys could get together and write a book together. And we were like, that's an interesting idea. We just met. And there was a crate. There was a guest on the show from Ripley's Believe It or Not. And they had all these things from their museum that they had brought in crates with bubble wrap. And so this person, maybe it was Beverly, pointed to the bubble wrap and said, yeah, you should do a book on bubble wrap. And Tim and I, the light bulbs went off. And we went, yeah, we should do that.
Wow.
So we went down the street after the show to the Roosevelt Hotel and sat there in the bar with cocktail napkins and started writing the whole book.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay, so where do you go with bubble wrap?
Oh, there's so many things you can do with bubble wrap. It's really quite...
Popping them, which kids love to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And just wrapping things. And I made a big helmet out of bubble wrap. Instead of a motorcycle helmet, you can make this big helmet with bubble wrap. And I made a vest out of bubble wrap. And we were making all sorts of crazy things out of bubble wrap. And so we contacted the bubble wrap company, which is actually called Sealed Air.
It's just one bubble wrap company?
One bubble wrap. Well, the one that makes bubble wrap. There's all sorts
Sealed Air.
There's all sorts of non-official bubble wraps these days. They don't call them bubble wrap. They're air cushioning product. Right?
Okay.
And so we got permission to do it, and we just went to town.
I would imagine that the petroleum revolution of the 50s and 60s really opened up your so many products came out because of derivatives of oil.
Yeah, well, WD-40 is a remarkable product, and also Vaseline. WD-40, the WD, what does it stand for? Water Displacement Formula 40. So if you come across any WD-39, I wouldn't use it. Don't use that. Don't use that.
It's a secret recipe, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And they call it the secret sauce. And it was originally invented for the aerospace industry. So remember the original Mercury rockets and Gemini rockets? Well, they wanted to keep the water off the wiring, because of condensation or whatever, before they launched the rocket. Right. So they created this water displacement formula to spray the wiring, and people at the rocket places, wherever they were using this, would steal it, take it home, and use it on their squeaky garage doors. And that's where, and then WD-40 decided to market for themselves and do it that way. Now, Vaseline came out of, I'm trying to remember where on the planet, but it was Chesbro, right? And it was basically oil derricks, like out in Texas somewhere.
To
and
lubricate them, right?
No. When they would do these oil derricks,
Yeah.
there'd be this gunky white stuff that would come up from the oil derricks.
Oh.
It was like a petroleum distillate. It's like a byproduct of the petroleum jelly is like a byproduct of the dredging
no
for oil,
kidding.
pumping for oil. So people would take it home and they would use it and they'd smear it on, like if they got a burn, they would smear the Vaseline on it, and they realized that it's healing faster.
Wow.
And so they would start taking it and using it for medicinal purposes, and that's where we got Vaseline from.
Better
That's
life through
fascinating.
chemistry.
Exactly.
Well, WD-40, I mean, you get tar on your foot at the beach.
Right.
No problem.
Oh, that's right.
That's the gum from a sticker.
Yeah.
You can't get off your car or your refrigerator. You just put a little DW. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah, and if you want a non-toxic way to remove that, when you buy a picture frame at Target or whatever, you get the picture frame home, you peel off the sticker, and you're left with that little glue there.
Yes, right.
If you take a little dab of Jif peanut butter, creamy again, not the chunky, just a little creamy peanut butter, put it over the glue, and let it sit for about 5 minutes, then wipe it off with a paper towel, the oils in the peanut butter dissolve the adhesives in the glue,
Wow.
and it just comes right off. And
That's
it's
great to
non-toxic.
know.
Yeah.
And you can do that while you're shaving.
Yeah, does that help you pull off a Band-Aid on your finger, too, so it doesn't hurt so much?
Yeah, you try it.
Yeah. And vinyl records are also a petroleum product.
Yeah. Well, also products I would play with were just the ones that we always made fun of, like Tang. What else can I do with Tang?
Yes,
drink
yeah.
mix,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Astronauts
Hang in
brought-
outer space.
Yeah, right. So the astronauts brought it to the moon. You can also use Tang to clean your dishwasher. If your dishwasher's not working properly,
Yeah.
and you call a plumber to fix your dishwasher, what's it going to cost you? Well, what you should do before you call the plumber, because if the plumber's nice, the plumber will after taking your money, the plumber will tell you next time before you call the plumber, take some Tang, the powdered mix, pour it into your receptacle dish where you normally put the Cascade or whatever soap you use, run it through the regular cycle without any dishes in there. The citric acid from the Tang cleans out all the soap scum from the pipes and tubes of your dishwasher. It'll work like brand new.
No, now wait, you put it in the little receptacle where you
where
put
you
the
would use
pod?
detergent, right?
Yeah.
Wow. Got to try that.
Amazing. In the 2 minutes we have left, the Warning Label Book. This is another title that you wrote.
Well, you remember back when a woman poured some coffee on her lap or spilled some coffee on her
and
lap?
burned herself.
And then from then on,
severely.
McDonald's had to put the little warnings on the
Right.
coffee.
Coffee
Yeah.
will be hot.
Yeah, don't spill it on your crotch.
That's
yeah.
right.
So the duct tape guy and I, we went through a whole bunch of warning labels on all sorts of products and collected them all and put them in a book with little, funny one-liners to make fun of the warnings.
Yeah.
And then we also made up some of our own warning labels, stickers that you could
Good.
peel to
But
stuff.
Well, how did you say you went through them all? How did you do that? I mean, what kind of a research job was that?
I went to the grocery store, went to the like Target, and just look at every single product and look at
Wow.
what are the warnings on all of these products, and then also all the manuals that you have at home for your dishwasher, for
Yeah.
your baby seat. Looking for all the warnings.
Well, you just have too much time on your hands, don't you?
Well, thank you. I think the life of our listener just improved dramatically. I'm sure they're out there scrubbing, cleaning, and wiping, and shaving, and massaging, and doing
That's
whatever you
right.
do with Miracle
And
And
Whip.
we should get that mustard off your chest now, Phil.
Oh, it's I like it. I think I'll wear it home.
Joey Green, thank you so much. What's the website again for people to find out more?
It's wackyuses.com, WACKYUSES.com, or you can just go to joeygreen.com, or if you Google spam and furniture, I'm the first guy that comes up for some strange reason.
You mean when you Google spam,
Wow.
you're the first guy that
Spam
comes up?
and furniture.
And for
Wow.
Thanks for having me so much. Really appreciate it. And thank you for making me a sexy boomer.
Oh, you're welcome.
You bet. And I just want to say R.I.P. to my adorable Maine Coon, Redford, the mayor of Wanda Park, the handsomest cat in the world, who was killed by a raccoon who was defending her babies apparently this morning on my street.
And
he
Phil,
was
he was a beautiful cat.
Hell of a great
and
cat.
you were a beautiful cat, because what a consummate professional to have that happen and have you here and be your usual wonderful self.
humor heals.
We'll see you next week. It's Phil and Ted's Sexy Boomer Show. Check us out at sexyboomershow.com. I'm Ted Bonnet.
I'm Phil Proctor. Remember, there is laugh after death.